Clap your hands, do your dance, stomp your feet, praise Him while you're here. Clap your hands, do your dance, celebrate, praise Yahweh's name. This is not a sad song, not a mad song either. I know it's been hard on you lately. Just take a breather. Tell God thank you. He gave you everything you have. Breath as life. We should be dead. We should be dead. Grace is this life, what a gift. He's been lifting our heads, trying to wake us up to the truth, through the trials, through the storms, through the tears. Every heartbeat's a reason, every moment a test in its season. Rise up, be grateful, give God your best. Do your dance, stomp your feet, praise Him while you're here. Clap your hands, do your dance, celebrate, praise Yahweh's name.
Walking on waves, Abba, I give you the praise. I know you don't make mistakes. I should be dead in my grave because of your grace. I'm walking on waves. Nigga, he'll I keep the faith. He keeping me every day. He never let me get away, so what can I say? I'm walking on waves, yeah. You helped me through the impossible, God. Got me over every obstacle, God. I was a second from giving up. I kept my chin up and now I'm unstoppable, God. Though he slid me, yes, still I would trust him. In the faith that I won't leave it for nothing. Took me through all of that fire, now I made a goal and I gotta thank him for the oven. So what I'm looking like giving up, Yahweh Shai said it's him or us. When it was all on the line, you sent your son to us just to pick us up. That's the reason why I give him praise. I don't hold it down, I'ma send it up. Now I'm two stepping on water like I got the baking soda. Abba, I give you the praise. I know you don't make mistakes. I should be dead in my grave because of your grace. I'm walking on waves. Nigga, he'll I keep the faith. He keeping me every day. He never let me get away, so what can I say? I'm walking on waves. Yeah. I'ma go hard, I don't care what it takes. Cause he took me out of that mental condition when I was still busting them plays. It was all white when I bought it, but after you rock it, it turned into beige. Give it a minute to air dry, when it's done, then it's back to the days. So what I'm looking like giving up, Yahweh Shai said it's him or us. When it was all up on the line, you sent your son to us just to pick us up. That's the reason why I give him praise. I don't hold it down, I'ma send him up. Now I'm two stepping on water like I got the bigger soda. Abba, I give you the praise. I know you don't make mistakes. I should be dead in my grave because of your grace. I'm walking on waves. Nigga, he'll I keep the faith. He keeping me every day. He never let me get away, so what can I say?
I'm thinking of Father, yeah. he really stepping. Ain't sneezing, but he give me blessings. His gangsta, I know not to test it. No way. He took me from out of the dirt. Really, my picture should be on the shirt. He giving me more than what I deserve. Gotta have a mighty God just to shine like this. Watch him do wonders, not talking my wrist. Fight with my mind, no need to use fists. Unless it's a demon, he get in the biz. And I'm thankful for what he's done for me. All these scripture keep me confident. Not praising God, they no bored to me.
Walking on waves, Papa, I give you the praise. I know you don't make mistakes. I should be dead in my grave because of your grace. I'm walking on waves. Nigga, he'll I keep the faith. He keeping me every day. He never let me get away. So what can I say? I'm walking on waves. Westside Vulture Island, that's the city that I live. I've offended many, but it's still hard to forgive. Them broke so many hearts, it's only chrome hearts in the crib.
What's going on? What's going on, brothers? What's going on, sisters? Welcome to another edition of the Lions of Israel Saturday morning class. It's your brother, Priest Daniela, representing Lions of Israel, Maccabees TV. And as always, I'm joined by the Elder Zahab. I want to say peace and blessings to everybody that's come out this morning to listen to the class. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh. And I do so in the name of his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, who is the King of Israel and our Messiah. I want to thank you, brothers and sisters, for being here this morning. Hopefully everybody is doing well. Hopefully everybody is doing the best they can in captivity. It's been a wild week, man. A lot of snow on the East Coast, and I got some snow going on right now. So we keep getting hit, but the word continues to go out. So with that being said, without further ado, I'm going to pass the floor over to Elder Zahab if he has anything he wants to say before we get into today's class.
Hey, shalom, Ashar Shabbat, Barakata Yahweh, Bashema Mashiach, Kalalal Yahweh. All praise to the Most High, man. I'm here, like you said, man, giving thanks, praise to the Most High. Made it for another Sabbath. I got snowed in like everybody else, but all praises. I'm good. So funny, Priest, and you live in a snowy area. That's all I'm gonna say, right? But it's crazy, man. People in the city, we got a city mindset, right? After we got hit with the snow when early Sunday morning, right? Today is a Sabbath. You drive around New York City, you see cars buried under snow to this day, bro. That just shows you the mindset of a lot of people in the city. They're not prepared for nothing. You know what I'm saying? I see grown men walking around begging for shovels, bro. It was crazy, man. And this is just a small taste of what the Most High could do, right? So long story short, brothers and sisters, be prepared, man, right? You ain't got to be perfect, but at least be prepared, man. Be self-sufficient as best that you can, right? All right, I don't want to take away from the class, Priest. I just wanted to bring that out.
Yeah. So I was in Dallas. For those that know, I was in Dallas last week, and what he said to his point, pretty much the city of Dallas shut down. It was like nothing was open except for Walmart. And I don't think they got more than 2 inches of snow. I've never seen anything like that in my entire life. I guess because I'm from New York and because they have a snow removal plan and a budget for removing snow, even when we get, God forbid, a foot, 2 feet, there's a plan to get rid of the snow, right? There's a plan of action. Apparently, because they never get snow down there was no plan of action. So the city was shut down. It was eerie. It was crazy. You know what I'm saying? And to Elder Zahab's point, it goes to show that the Most High can shut this place down instantly through many different mediums. It could be hurricanes, it could be floods, it could be snow. The Most High has a myriad of ways that he could bring even the greatest society, the most advanced society that's ever existed in the history of man, can be shut down by a natural disaster. So that's how we know that Yahweh is the power. At the end of the day, every now and then the Most High has to show his power, you know. Yeah, so with that being said, brothers and sisters, we're going to get into today's class. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Shout out to everybody that's watching us on Maccabees TV, as well as the Lines of Israel class, our YouTube pages. And shout out to you brothers and sisters that are listening on Clubhouse. Today's lesson is going to be, I'm playing a lot of videos today. So if you guys want to, you know, watch the videos, you guys can click the link at the top of the room and you can come over to YouTube and you guys can watch the video and see the PowerPoint and follow along with myself and Elder Zahab. All right. So give me 1 second. All right. So today's lesson is I did a series called Marriage First Aid Part 1 and Part 2 a couple of months ago. I believe I did those series in October and November, if my memory serves me correct. And it was a while that I've been meaning to do Part 3. But of course, with all the things that were going on in Israel, all the different doctrines that were circulating, I didn't really get a chance to talk about that back then. So I think it's time for us to circle back, because it's always good to remind ourselves of certain things, right? Always remember, and I tell you brothers and sisters this all the time, when I put these lessons together, I'm examining myself. The Bible says examine yourself to see whether you are in the faith or not. So as I put these lessons together, I have to examine myself and I have to identify all the areas that I fall short in, which are many, because I'm not perfect. Only Yahushua was perfect. I'm an imperfect man living in an imperfect body, living in an imperfect world. And sometimes those things even take a toll on the most well-intentioned of people, right? And so when I put these lessons together, especially when I put lessons together that deal with the inward man or the inward woman that we all are striving to be, we're all striving to measure up to the example of Yahushua. Yahushua is the standard. The rest of us are trying to measure up to that standard. And in many areas, we fall short. That's why the Bible tells us, I believe it's Hebrews chapter 4, verse 12, the word of God is a two-edged sword. As you cutting somebody with one end of the sword, the other end of the sword is cutting you at the same time. That's the way it goes, right? So I do a lot of counsels in my camp, out of my camp. And one of the main counsels I always do is marriage counsels. And I think the foundation of marriage, I think everyone, men and women, have that misconstrued. People think that marriage is about love. And when you're not feeling love, and you're not feeling butterflies, then something is wrong with your marriage. Marriage is not just based on love. Love is one component of marriage, but marriage is also duty. Marriage is also sacrifice. Marriage is also compromise. Marriage is also teamwork. Marriage is the foundation of a nation, because what comes from a marriage, a union between a man and a woman, children, the next generation. So marriage is literally the blueprint. That's why in a figurative manner, God the Father is called the husband, and we, the children of Israel, are called the wife. It's not literal, but it's figurative, right? The Most High is the leader. He's the protector. And we are the figurative wife. So we're supposed to follow the leadership and guidance of the leader and the protector, and we're supposed to submit to it. And the earthly example is between a man and a woman. So part 3 is called Marriage First Aid. Submission is not a curse word. If you pay attention on social media, there's a gender war going on between men and women, but I want to focus on our people. Everybody's at war. I want nobody to get it misconstrued. Miss Ann is at war. The white woman is at war with the white man. The Chinese women are at war with the Chinese man. I don't know if you guys know that. Over in Asia, there's a gender war going on in China. I don't know if you guys know that. There's a gender war going on over in China as well. There's a Me Too movement going on in China as well, right? The marriage rates are down in China as well, and Korea, by the way. A lot of times we just think in our little bubble that this stuff is just going on here. Everybody's at war with everybody. And unfortunately for us, we have been affected because we're in captivity. A lot of times we are affected, or should I say, infected by what surrounds us. And I'm not talking about us in the truth. I'm talking about our people in general. And so since the white man and the white woman is at war, the Chinese man, the Chinese woman is at war, the Arab man, the Arab woman, the Indian man, the Indian woman, it makes sense that our people are at war as well between men and women. And it's sad. But luckily for us, all praise to the Most High, we have the scriptures that gives us a blueprint to a successful nation. In every nation, there are families. And within every family, there is a structure and a blueprint that is tried and true and has worked from the beginning. And we have to get back to what that blueprint is. All right. So today's lesson again is called Marriage First Aid. Submission is not a curse word, because in the world, to submit is to lower yourself. And that's not what submission is. Let's pick chapter 28, verses 45 and 46. And then we're going to jump down to verses 54 through 56. It says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee. When it says pursue us, what it's making reference to is that these curses are cyclical. Even though the prophecy said that Israel will be scattered into all nations, that doesn't mean that because we are now scattered out of the land and into these other nations and speaking these other languages, that now the curses will no longer affect us. We have these conversations sometimes on Clubhouse. You got black people on Clubhouse because they might have a good job and drive a nice car and have some money in the bank. They say that they're not under the curses. No, you're under the curses. Maybe you yourself are not cursed. We don't teach that our people are cursed. Let me stress that. We do not teach that our people are cursed. We're not cursed. We're God's chosen people. What we do teach is that we are under the curses, or if you want to use another word, because curses makes you uncomfortable, we are under the judgments for breaking God's laws. And we are under that as a people. It doesn't matter if you're doing well. Personally, financially, you are still under restrictions. You can't pick up and decide you want to leave the United States and go to another country without a passport. And in certain countries without a visa. And in certain countries without getting certain vaccines first. Certain countries you have to be vaccinated before you can go. So let's just say you have a good job, right? And you live in a nice house, you drive a nice car. So you decide you're not cursed. And you decide you're going to pick up and you're just going to get on a plane and go to another country. You're not going to get a visa. You're not going to get a passport. You're not going to get vaccinated. You're not going to go. They're going to turn you right back around. Because you are under someone else's, you are subject to somebody else's authority. That's a curse. We're not subject to our own rulers. We're under somebody else's authority. You get in your car and you decide to drive without a registration, without an inspection, without a valid driver's license. Guess what? You get stopped, you get ticketed, maybe even arrested. Starting today, today's February 1st. Starting today, if you plan on traveling anywhere and you go to the airport and you do not have real ID or your passport, you are charged $45 as a punishment for not accepting their real ID, which is what they want you to do. And eventually the digital ID will come behind that and everything else behind that. You guys already know where we're heading. We're heading into a whole digital society. And you're going to either go along with it or you're going to be frozen out of society. You're not free. We are under judgments for breaking God's laws. All right. But that is an aside. I done already deviated. Let's get back to today's lesson. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God to keep his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. Now, this is how you identify who the Israelites are as we teach. You identify who the Israelites are not by doing a DNA test. A DNA test is going to take you and show you where populations in the world, maybe on the continent of Africa, maybe throughout Europe, so forth and so on, where people share similar DNA like you. Populations of people share similar DNA like you. That doesn't tell you who you are. Only black people are stupid enough to, I'm going to say it again. Only black people are stupid enough to believe that and call themselves conscious. All that does is show you who you share DNA with. But you still don't know where you're from, because those people could have migrated from somewhere else to their present day location. Migrations happen all the time, whether they're forced migrations or voluntary migrations. Populations migrate all the time. So a DNA test cannot tell you who you are. It can tell you who shares your DNA in a particular area of the world on the map. It can tell you that much, and that's it. The sign about who the Israelites would be the curses. Let's skip down to verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil towards his brother. We've gone over this a million times. If you're an Israelite, you already heard this breakdown a million times. We know how our eye is evil towards our brother. Just look at the conditions of our people. The number one killer of another black person is us. The number one killer of another Latino is a Latino. That's what it is. His eye shall be evil towards his brother and towards the wife of his bosom and towards the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. A lot of brothers are out here running around, laying down with random women, getting them pregnant, right? Not taking precautions, and then they leave the woman to take care of the child. Talk about you never wanted to be a father. It's to a point of ridiculousness right now. I saw something the other day that really irritated me online. It really irritated me. I don't know why, but it just did. So you have this guy, this basketball player by the name of Anthony Edwards that plays for the Minnesota Timberwolves, right? I've gone over this with you guys before. Anthony Edwards, I believe, has 2 children by 2 different women, right? The first child, he claims, he's not with that woman either, by the way. Let's start there. According to prophecy, showing he's an Israelite, that's a sign, right? Because that's what our people do. He impregnates the first one. They're not together. She has a daughter. He's there for his daughter, right? There's images of him at her birthday party, so forth and so on. Okay, cool, right? So you're not with that woman. You would think that you would learn, okay, the next woman I'm going to get, I'm going to make sure that we're together. I'll make sure we have a family. The family is not broken. The home is not broken. No. He goes out and he lays down with I don't know if she was a stripper or whatever the hell she was, right? Something like that. And she gets pregnant and has a baby. Now, because he doesn't like her, he decides he doesn't want to take care of the children. So he went to court petitioning for the court that he doesn't want to be a father. He wants to pay child support up until the child's 18th birthday in a lump sum right now and never see the child again. That's wicked as hell. That's wicked as hell. And then what irritated me, there was an image of Kim Kardashian that was circulating this week, right? And somebody took a screenshot of some of the comments under the picture that she posted. And who do you think was posting a comment under the picture, thirsting for her? Talking about somebody that comes scoop her up before he does, Anthony Edwards. So you didn't learn from mistake number 1. You created the first broken home. You didn't learn from mistake number 2. You created another broken home. And now you want to go and sleep with a woman that's probably slept with half of Hollywood. This is the mindset of our people. And we see this prevalent amongst our people. There's no sense of family. There's no sense amongst the men about their duty as a man when you impregnate a woman to take care of that child. There's none of that. I'm not saying that there are no brothers that do that. Even in the world, you got brothers that do that, but you have too many that don't, especially the men that have money. You don't see Bill Gates. You don't see Jeff Bezos. You don't see guys like that are multi-billionaires going around and impregnating a ton of women and having children everywhere. But you do see it with Nick Cannon. You do see it with Cam Newton. It's more pronounced in our community than anywhere else. That's a sign that we're the people, because the Bible says that's exactly what the Israelites would do. Let's move on. So I went to AI and I asked it a question. Remember what I taught you guys? Real quick again, if you guys are on Clubhouse, the link is at the top of the room because I'm going to start playing some videos momentarily so you guys can come over from Clubhouse and you guys can watch the lesson and watch the videos I'm going to be playing. So I went to ChatGPT right now. You guys, if you've been paying attention and watching, you guys know I don't go to ChatGPT to learn from it. That's what pseudos do. I go to ChatGPT because I already know things and I want to see what it's going to say. I want to see what it's going to say and what its reasoning is for saying it. So you guys are looking at my screen. I asked ChatGPT, was Deuteronomy 28 verses 54 and 55, what I just read, was that already fulfilled? Because if you listen to the unconscious community and the haters of the Bible, they'll tell you Deuteronomy 28 was fulfilled around 70 AD and again at the Bar Kokhba revolt in the 1st century. You'll also get this from that clown vocab Malone and the Christians. You'll get that as well. So I asked ChatGPT, was Deuteronomy 28 already fulfilled? What is the fulfillment? And what does it say? It says there is no single fulfillment. I'm going to say it again. There is no single fulfillment. So no, Deuteronomy 28 was not fulfilled in 70 AD alone. No, Deuteronomy 28 was not fulfilled during the Bar Kokhba revolt alone. That is a lie. There is no single fulfillment. Rather, scripture and history show multiple fulfillments, meaning this was fulfilled multiple times throughout certain captivities that we were in, and we find ourselves under subjection to another nation. So guess what? It applies to this captivity too. Does everybody understand? Let's go to the next one. So this is what else it said. It said it gave a immediate fulfillment, the Assyrian and Babylonian sieges. We don't disagree with that, right? Then it gave another historical fulfillment of Deuteronomy 28 during the siege. But watch this. It says ongoing. It never stopped. So anywhere the Israelites are, some of the things that we read about, some of the judgments and curses we read about in Deuteronomy 28 would be fulfilled in them in this time. It's ongoing. All right. First, we have to know the difference between submission and subjugation. When we speak about submission, unfortunately for a lot of our sisters, their mind switches over to subjugation, and they're not the same. What is submission? Submission is a voluntary, mutual, and often respectful yielding of one's will to another for a common goal. You see Abraham submitting to Sarah in terms of kicking Ishmael out. He didn't want to do it. He did not want to do it. But he listened to her. He was the head. He was the leader. She called him her Lord. So she submitted to him overall. But in that particular situation, what she was saying was better. So the Most High told Abraham to hearken to her voice. Submit to what she's saying because she's right. So there are instances in the Bible where a man actually listens to his wife, and if you're smart, that's exactly what you would do. But in the structure of the household, the man is the head, and you as the woman should be submitting to him. That's what the Bible teaches. It should be voluntary, mutual, and respectful yielding of one's will to another for a common goal, representing strength. Submission is strength, actually, believe it or not. Now, subjugation is forced. It's involuntary and absolute, treating individuals as objects through fear, intimidation, or dominance. If you are a man and that's the way you're treating your wife, you tell your wife things through means of fear or intimidation or dominance, and she goes along with it, then you are literally subjugating her. You must know the difference between the two. Submission is an act that's done by a person, the way we submit to the Most High. And subjugation is something that's done to you, meaning you're forced. So understand the difference. Submission is not subjugation. Do not let these bobblehead females on TikTok or on any of these other apps poison you sisters' minds. Submission is not subjugation. All right. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse 24. This is also a curse that we're under, and it goes all the way back to the beginning. It says, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And when you guys make one flesh, that's strength. It's just like you have 5 fingers on your hand, right? And you ball your fingers together and bring them together to make a fist. You're in a fight, you're not going to fight with your hands open, right? You're not going to fight with your hands open. You're going to make a fist because the impact is greater. The strength behind the blow is greater in a fist than it is with in an open-handed slap. Everybody understand? There's more force behind it. There's more strength in that. So when you become one, there's strength in that. And this society has done its best to undermine that unity amongst men and women, especially in our community, and it was done on purpose. I want you guys to listen to this video real quick. Let me turn the volume all the way up so you guys can hear it. I want you guys to listen to this video real quick.
There's a talk I give of the 5 biggest challenges Black people have for the next 100 years. The number one challenge is the existential crisis of the Black family. The existential crisis of the Black family. Marriage in our culture is down to 34%. When we were growing up, it was 85%. It's now down to 34%.
Does anybody know why? Because he's not going to tell you why. Does anybody know why? I'm going to tell you guys one of the reasons. There are many reasons, but one of the reasons why, when you go back to the scriptures, right? Let's use the scriptures. We're Bible people. Yahushua said you can't put your wife away save for fornication. That's what he said. Because the Pharisees, the scribes, the Sanhedrin, they were saying that Moses said you could put your wife away for any cause. Moses never said that. When you go back and you actually read the scripture in context, Moses never said that. But they interpreted it that way because that's what they wanted to do. It's not a new spirit to see an Anthony Edwards in the world jumping from one woman to another. The Pharisees had the same spirit. That same spirit was present back then. Yahushua said, no, you can't leave your wife save for fornication. That's what he said. So that kind of gives you very little wiggle room. So when things get a little rough, right? Because every relationship, there's peaks and there's valleys. I don't give a damn if it's your mother and your father. Sometimes you good with your mother and your father, even as an adult. And sometimes your mother and father, you and them may be on the outs for whatever reason. If you have a sibling, sometimes your siblings and you are good. That's the peak. And then something happens between y'all, and now you're in the valley. But guess what? You always come back because that's always your brother and sister. So at some point, there's going to be a reconciliation. At some point with your parents, there's going to be a reconciliation. Sometimes you have peaks and valleys with your children, your very own offspring. There are times when you and your children are in a good place, and there's times where you and your children, you can't stand the sight of them. I'm in that place right now. I'm in that place right now. I'm in that valley right now. But at the end of the day, at some point, I'm going to have to make reconciliation because that's still my seed. You get what I'm saying? It's funny to me how we understand that, But as soon as it comes to marriage, we don't understand that no more. And that's why Yahushua made it so difficult. Because that's what it's supposed to be. So getting back to my point, the reason why the marriage rate had the divorce rate has skyrocketed so much is because there was something introduced called irreconcilable differences, meaning you could leave your spouse for any cause. It's history repeating itself all over again. You just wake up one day and be like, you know what? I'm not happy. And I'm going to be honest, that'd be mainly y'all sisters that do that. In the world especially. You wake up one day, you're not feeling the butterflies anymore. You're not all in love anymore. The fairy tale is over, and the reality that relationships are work has set in. You're not happy, so now you want to leave. That's why the rates are up the way they are. That's why people don't want to get married anymore. That's why the rates are so low as far as getting married, and the rates are so high for divorce, because irreconcilable differences was introduced where you didn't need a reason. Prior to that, you had to have a reason, or else the judge would not grant you a divorce. That was righteous. So that crisis of irreconcilable differences has hit and impacted our community the most. We as so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American men and women, we don't stick it out. Because we still believe that marriage is some type of fairy tale, watching too much Disney, reading too many romance novels, watching too many rom-coms. Marriage is work, man. It is. And you're not going to wake up every day and be happy. You're going to wake up some days and be tired, exhausted, frustrated, because we live in this world. We have to work. We have to survive in this world. There's outside sources that affect you. And sometimes you carry those things into your marriage, maybe not intentionally. And then there are offenses. And then y'all are on the outs. Y'all not, you're upset at each other. You got to figure out a way back. Because you can't put her or him away safe for fornication. See what I'm saying? Anyway, let's continue.
71% of our sisters are not married, 29% will never get married, 62% of our brothers are not married, 30% of them will never get married. There is no culture in the history of humankind that has risen to maximize their full human potential without family at the center of their culture.
There's no civilization in humankind that has ever maximized their potential without family at the center of the culture. Look at our community and y'all tell me, is anybody really surprised we're at the bottom? Where is the family? It's destroyed. Our sisters have been taught that they don't need no man. I don't need him. I'm strong and independent. You have sisters that are in relationships that will say, I'm independent. That's a recipe for failure. The very essence and meaning of relationship is dependency. A relationship is interdependency. That's the only relationship that can be successful. An interdependent relationship, not two independent people. You over there doing what you want to do. I'm over here doing what I want to do. That's a recipe for failure. It should be interdependent. You depend on me for A, B, C. These are my roles in the relationship. This is what I do. This is what I bring to the table. I know people hate that phrase nowadays, but that's what it is. So you can depend on me for A, B, C. And your partner's supposed to bring D, E, F. And you can depend on them for that because you may be short on D, E, F. But if your partner's bringing that, you depend on each other. And y'all bring it together, and that's the strength. Until we realize that, we can never be strong. We're going to stay on the bottom. And that's why there's such a push on social media to really push this gender war. And our people are highly affected because our people love social media. Our people have TikTok brains. They sit on TikTok all day from morning to night, and the algorithm is feeding them all this toxic information. It feeds the women toxic information about the men. It feeds the men toxic information about the women. And then we're looking at each other with suspicious eyes, don't want to come together. But we are having sex, though. Let me say it again. We are having sex, but we're not coming together. We are having sex. That's where the babies is coming from, out of wedlock, because we're doing that much. I might not like you. You may not like me, but we still gonna have sex, right? Knowing that we don't like each other. Knowing that we have no intentions on being with each other. Then the baby gonna come and he ain't gonna want nothing to do with it. You see what I'm saying? That's where we are. And then when you add in the music we listen to, which is controlled by people that's not a part of our nation, the people that wear the small hats on their head, them, they're the ones that push and promote this music into our community. And the music is also highlighting the fact that everybody wants to be single and playing the field. That's what they want to do. This is being fed to us on purpose. Because there was a time prior to the civil rights movement, prior to the civil rights movement, like prior to the 60s, Black people were the most married people in America. When I say most married, the highest rates of marriages was in our community. Coming out of slavery, the highest rates of marriage was in our community. And we built strong communities that were eventually destroyed, as we know. And we've never recovered since then. Then your man Franklin Roosevelt brought in the New Deal. Social services were introduced. Eventually, the man was moved out of the house in order for our women to get social services. And you guys can see the decay of our community from there. And let me say this too, and I know I'm deviating a lot, but I'm just going in the spirit. Let me say this too. I was watching, and maybe you guys have all seen it before, here in New York State. I know Zahab knows this. In New York State, right? In the city in Brooklyn, you have an area of Brooklyn called Crown Heights, right? Crown Heights, Brooklyn is where a lot of the small hats, the ones that wear the black suits and the black hat, look like Abraham Lincoln, whatever. That's what they are, the so-called Hasidic small hats. They have a big community. Tens of thousands of them live in a place in Brooklyn called Crown Heights, right? But New York City is getting expensive. So what happened was you had this one synagogue that was there, and you had two guys that were in there fighting for power. I don't know if they were brothers or whatever. They might be related. I forget how the story goes. I'm just going to give you guys the basic story. You had two guys fighting for power in the synagogue, right? So there was a split. We always talk about splits in the Israelite communities. There was a split in that synagogue. That synagogue has tens of thousands of members. There was a split in leadership. And one leader took the people that followed him and moved upstate in New York, upstate New York, to a city called Monsey, New York. You have a big enclave of small hats up there. And most of those small hats are on welfare in Section 8. They up there on welfare in Section 8. How do they do it, Priest Daniela? They never get married on paper in Esau system. They don't. Because if the man is in the household, the women are not going to be able to get welfare in Section 8, right? They want to take advantage of the system. They want to make you and I the faces of welfare. But really the face of welfare is the so-called small hats. It's them. So they don't get married on paper. The woman goes to, the woman goes to, well, let me go back. They don't get married on paper, and they have a lot of children. Many of those couples have 4, 5, 6, 7 children. They reproduce a lot. So now the woman goes to social services, and she's got 5 kids by herself, and they rent her Section 8 and welfare. The man lives there. The man lives there. But they work together. So there was a white guy this week. It was up on my TikTok feed. A lot of videos kept popping up on my TikTok feed of this white guy that went upstate and he was interviewing them. All the men that were walking around, he was asking them, "What do you do for a living?" And they all said, "Nothing. I don't do anything." So how do you survive? My wife gets welfare. One after the other after the other. It was funny. I had to laugh. But what I'm showing you guys is that this is them working together. Even though social services were introduced, right, into their community, they did not allow the social services to break their family up. You know who did that? We did. We're stupid enough to do that. Because we've been conditioned. Well, you don't need a man. Yes, you do. They know that they do. And so do you. But anyway, let's get back to the video.
interesting but negative statistic. This phenomenon of the existential crisis of our family only exists among African American black people. It does not exist on the continent or anywhere else in the diaspora. So there must be something in the water. We must fix this.
Did you guys catch that? It exists specifically in the most numbers among so-called African Americans. Why? Because those are the signs of the curses that we read about. Those are the signs of the curses. Nobody else is going through this but us on the level that we're going through it on. Now, he cannot explain why, but we can because we understand the scriptures. Let's continue.
It's a lot easier said than done because it is impacting our wealth. Quick statistic. For 350 years, household median income was dominated by white people. They were number one in this country. They no longer are number one, they're number three. And there's a reason for it. So, who has the highest household median wealth in America? It's East Indians. $104,000 a year. What's the marriage rate in the East Indian culture? 94%.
94% is the marriage rate in the East Indian community, and they have the number one household wealth median income in America. Number one. And the correlation is because they have the strongest rates of marriage. Let's continue.
Tool working. Who's number two? Chinese Asians. Household median income $110,000 a year. Marriage rate close to 70%. Number three are white people. Household median income $88,000 a year. What's the marriage rate? Almost 50%.
Their marriage rate is 50%. Ours is sub 50% below. We're at the bottom. We are at the bottom. That's why we are at the bottom when it comes to wealth as well as a community. It is what it is.
Down significant. Number four are Hispanics. Household median income $61,000 a year. Marriage rate close to 70%. We are at the bottom. Household median income $55,000 a year.
I want to go back and I want to focus on that. The median income of an African American household, which most of our households are headed by women, a lot of our women are single, right? Even if they have children, the median income is $55,000. That's it. That's why we're at the bottom. Because there's no man to come in and contribute to that to bring that up. Because we've bought into what's been pushed on us. That's the problem.
At the bottom. Household median income $55,000 a year. Marriage rate 34%. And projected based on facts and statistics that if we do not fix this, because white folks ain't fixing this, our marriage rate will be in the low teens in the next 20 years. This is an enormous challenge. It's a whole talk by itself on how do we fix it. It can be fixed, but we have to, first of all, understand that this is a problem. No one's talking about this problem. This is a huge problem. It's the number one problem in our culture. So we must fix it.
And that's because we don't know we don't know how to work together. We don't want to work together. And each party does not want to play their role. That's the problem. The men want to be the women in our community. I ain't talking about the Israelite community. I'm talking about in general. The men want to be the women and the women want to be the men. And that's being done and pushed on purpose. Genesis chapter 3. Starting from verse 1. It says, "Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God had said, ye shall not eat it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not die. Ye shall not surely die. For God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked. Now I'm going to turn this video all the way up, and I want you guys to listen.
I keep telling black women that to raise a child, they say, well, I provided with food, clothing, and shelter. That's not raising a child, that's maintaining one. To raise a child, you need a parental coalition of a man and a woman. We have sons who are, by not having a father in the home, they don't know how to respect women. They take on the black feminine female emotionalism. They're doubtful, they're indecisive, they can't make a decision. They don't know what to do about being a man, but we can't teach them that. We don't have that knowledge. We have daughters who grew up in a home where they don't see any affection, where there's no man there. They go out into the world and try to mate. They don't have no idea how to be no woman to no man, how to function in a house with a man, because they haven't seen it. Most of our children, just like us, get all the information we have about how you be with a mate off television.
And now off the internet. And that's not real. Let's continue.
It's the only medium that shows us anybody being together. Those rules have not worked for us. The white woman's liberation movement, we don't have anything to do with that. We have not been under the control of the black man for over 500 years. So what do we have to get liberated from them from?
Right. That's very, very important. The feminists, Gloria Steinem and Angela Davis, they convinced even our women bought into that the men were subjugating them. But as Shahrazad Ali is so rightly pointing out, our women have not been under our control since we've been in this country. Not really. Not really. They have not. So you didn't need no liberation from your man. That was fake. See, during slavery, we worked together. You read about stories of slaves, male slaves being punished by their masters where they weren't given food, right? And you would have a black woman that may have been nursing. So she has the colostrum, right, that she feeds the baby. And she would actually give that to her husband so that he had some type of sustenance, whatever, while he was being starved out by the white man. We worked together. It was never me against you or you against me. But we fell for the propaganda. Let's continue.
They haven't been eyeballs. That's the white woman and her man. They're going through that, and that's their business. We don't have any business being in that. They only introduced it to break down the civil rights movement. Civil rights movement started with the black man, the black woman, and the black child standing together, trying to plead for freedom, justice, and equality, and more benefits in the country that they had to appeal. They threw the white woman in there with the women's liberation movement and made it a woman against man thing. That created a big separation between black men and black women, because then everybody started going for self. Then they bring the welfare system in and tell us in order to feed and clothe and house our children, we have to give up our man. We have to put the man out of the house.
Right, exactly. But the so-called Jews, they keep the man in the house when they get on the welfare system. That's the difference between us and them. Let's go.
When the white farm wife goes to the government for subsidy for the farm, they don't tell her to get rid of the farmer. They keep that family together. But in the black community, they make it a requirement, because they want to keep endorsing into the black community that the black man is no good, and that he is not deserving of respect. He is not deserving of us letting him give us any protection or instruction, and that we are better than them.
Pay attention.
All right. I don't think anything else needs to be said. I think she said it all. Let's go to the next slide. This is Deuteronomy chapter 6, starting from verse 1. It says, now these are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments which the Lord your God commanded to teach you, that ye might do them in the land whither ye go to possess it. Verse 2, that thou mightest fear the Lord thy God to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command thee. Thou and thy son and thy son's sons in all the days of thy life, and that thy days may be prolonged. Hear therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with thee, and that ye may increase mightily, as the Lord God of thy fathers hath promised thee, in the land that floweth with milk and honey. Verse 4, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one, and thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and thou shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. Children learn by hearing and seeing, not what you say. The reason why subsequent generations repeat the same mistakes over and over again is because their parents told them one thing, but they observed their parents doing something else. You can't be out here and be a whoremonger as a man, jumping from woman to woman to woman, impregnating woman after woman after woman, not taking care of your children, and expect for your son to be a good husband. He don't care what you said. Hey, son, don't be like your dad. You know what I'm saying? He ain't listening to that. He's looking at what you're doing. That's the example. It's almost like when we try to bring people into this truth, into this way of life. We give them 1,000 scriptures, and they're looking at us, and our life does not reflect the breakdowns or the scriptures that we're giving them. Which one do you think is teaching them more? The breakdown that you gave them or your actions? Your actions is what teaches them. It's the same thing with children. Children imitate and mimic what they see. It's sad to say, I know so many people that were single mothers with multiple children by multiple men. And then I watch the children grow up, the daughters, and the daughters become single mothers themselves. I've watched it. That doesn't mean that the mother didn't say, hey, don't be like me. But while you were saying, don't be like me, when you was looking around, you thought nobody saw, you was doing something else. And your children saw. Your son saw the rotation of men coming in and out. He saw that. That's all he knows, right? So that's what he becomes. Or you as a man, you were absent out of your son's life. You weren't really there present. I'm not even gonna say that you were completely absent. You may have been, he may know you, but you didn't really take care of him. You didn't, provide. You didn't really spend any time with him. You didn't really teach him anything. And then he becomes an adult, and all of a sudden now you think he's supposed to do what you tell him to do. No, he's gonna follow your example. And he's gonna be unproductive. He's gonna be a deadbeat father, well, just like you. Children learn by hearing and seeing. That's why we were instructed to teach our children diligently. You teach them the commandments both in word and action. That's the idea. This is Proverbs 22, verse 6. It says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. So again, children, whether it be a he or a she, they learn from watching. So in the picture that you guys see right there, the wife is teaching the daughters how to cook, right? They say, the old saying goes, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach, right? A man loves good food. A man loves a woman that can cook. I've never met a man that don't love a woman that can throw down in the kitchen. That's a great quality to have as a woman if you're looking for a husband, is to be able to actually cook, believe it or not. So if you mean for your daughter to be good wives and stuff, teach them how to cook. Because men like that. The same way that you would teach a boy what to do for women. Hey, Women like this, or women like that. As a man, women like for you to provide for them. Women like for you to protect them. Hey, as a young man, when your woman is coming out the door, you hold the door open for her, right? You pull out her seat for her, so forth and so on. You teach your boy to do certain things that women like. It's the same thing. You teach your daughter to do certain things that women like. It's not just about reading words off of a page. It's about you embodying what you want to pass down to them. And that's the reason why they had to break up the family, because now once the man is not in the household anymore, mom now has one of two choices: either get on social services, or she's going to have to go out and get a job herself to cover the slack because the husband is not there, the man is not there. So she's no longer with her children. So who's raising her children? TikTok is. Who's raising her children? Instagram and X is. That's who's raising the children. That's it. Celebrities are raising your children. Nicki Minaj, Glorilla. That's who's raising the kids. This is exactly as they intended it. And we have to see the play and make the correction. Now, in the Israelite community, we're doing it. But until our people do it in mass, we're going to remain in the condition that we're in. And that's why it's so important for us to get out and teach, to try to wake as many of our people up through the foolishness of preaching as we can, to turn from these mindsets that they have and come back to the biblical blueprint, which is going to make our community and our nation thrive. This is Sirach 26, verse 14. It says, a silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord, and there's nothing so much worth as a mind well instructed. There's nothing like a woman that's respectful and well instructed and understands the scriptures and understands the roles in the Bible and understands her submission is not subjection. If you have a woman with that mindset, you have a gift from God. This is Proverbs 18, verse 22. Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good things and obtaineth favor of the Lord. This is one of the most misunderstood scriptures. It is not telling you that every woman is a wife. It's implying that to find a wife, a woman whose mind is well instructed, that's a gift from God, and the Most High shows you favor, because in this day and time, in this society, with all the external forces that's out there, it's very hard to find a woman whose mind is well instructed. It's very hard to find a man whose mind is well instructed. So when the Most High gives you that, that is a gift. And you should treasure it. This is Proverbs 19, verse 14. It says, house and riches are the inheritance of fathers, and a prudent wife is from the Lord, because you could end up with a woman that's not prudent as a man. So again, when the Most High gives you these things as a man, you got to treat these things with great care, because the Most High gave you a gift. I'm sure most of you brothers that are listening to me within the sound of my voice can remember being in relationships where you were with a woman that was not well instructed, that was not prudent. She was combative, argumentative, all those things. And how did you feel? You felt like you were in hell. So when the Most High actually gives you one that's willing to do right, because in the society, it's so easy for them not to, because society is catered towards them. So it's very easy for them to be like, you know what, to hell with all of this. So the sisters that come into this truth, that have a great amount of respect for them, that at least make an effort to try to keep God's commandments, that have minds that are well instructed, that have prudence, I have a lot of respect for them, because you are rare. That's why the Bible says, you know what I'm saying, that your price is above rubies. A virtuous woman, her price is above rubies. You can't put a price tag on that. This is Psalms 19, verses 7 through 11. It says, the law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. The statutes of the Lord are right, rejoicing in the heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes. The fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of the Lord are true and righteous. More to be desired are they than gold, yea, than much fine gold. Sweeter also than honey and the honeycomb. Moreover, by them, talking about the law and the statutes, is the servant warned, and in them, in keeping of them, there is a great reward. All right, so let's move on. This is 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 1. It says, likewise, ye wives, be in subjection unto your own husband. Now, it didn't say be, it doesn't say it. So basically what it's saying is you have to be in subjection unto your own husband, right? To your own husband, that if any obey not the word, that they also, without the word, be won by the conversation of the wives. Here's an example. I know that I've experienced some sisters that have come into the truth, right? And they've had a husband that wasn't really in the truth. And they've called me or they've come in my inbox and asked me would I counsel their husband. Again, what I said earlier, you could be the very thing, your action could be the very thing that brings your husband into the truth. You're trying to show him scriptures and break down, so forth and so on. He's not getting it. But if you just live your life according to scriptures, you and your actions could be the very thing that bring that man into the truth. A lot of sisters don't understand that, and brothers as well, if you have an unbelieving wife. Your actions say way more than you reading a bunch of scriptures off a page. There's nothing wrong with reading scriptures and precepts, but your actions are what can win somebody over, right? If that man loves you, I'm talking to the sisters specifically, you come into this truth, you have a husband that's unbeliever. If that man loves you, right, that man's going to be willing to do certain things to please you as well, to appease you. So all of a sudden now, you're the person that's in the house and you're the cook. So because you're an Israelite, you're no longer going to cook shrimp, lobster, crab, pork, etc. for your husband, right? If that man really loves you, after a while, he's going to, at first he might buck up against it. But after a while of seeing the way you carry yourself and the changes you've made as you begin to start really following the scriptures and applying the scriptures, and he'll see certain changes in you and stuff like that, he'll acquiesce little by little until eventually, before he knows it, he's an Israelite too. Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes we are so impatient, like we want, because we wake up at a certain time, we want somebody else to wake up at the same time we do. No, everything is in the Lord's timing. All right, continue on, verse number 2. While they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear, right? They're watching your action. They're watching what you talk about. You're no longer talking about celebrity gossip anymore. You're no longer talking about clubbing and this, that, and the third anymore. You're no longer gossiping with your female friends anymore about frivolous stuff. He'll notice that. He'll notice that. Verse 3. Whose adorning, let it be not that outward adorning of plaited hair and the wearing of golds or putting on apparel. Now, Christians get this misconstrued and say, but this is Peter saying that you can't wear these things. No, that's not what it's saying. It's saying that when you put more effort into your outer, right, you can wear the most expensive, the most extravagant hairstyle, and you have the most jewelry and the most rings and this, that, and the third, but inside there's no substance. What it's saying is that the substance inside should shine more than what you have on the outside. That's what it's saying. You ever saw somebody, this could go for the men or the women. You ever saw somebody that's well put together? It might be a man or a woman. The guy's well dressed. He's in a suit. You know, he got nice shoes on. He's groomed well. His hair looks good, so forth and so on. And then he opens his mouth, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, hell no. Right? And you see the woman the same way. She's dressed really well. She looks good, right? But you haven't heard her talk yet. And then she gets to talking, and you're like, oh, no, I'm good. You don't want to be that type of person. You want your beauty to be really from the inside more so than the outside. You can wear gold. You can wear nice apparel. Nobody's saying that you cannot have nice things, but that cannot be your personality. It's too many of our people And I'm sorry to say, especially a lot of our sisters are supremely materialistic because we live in a day and age where it's materialistic. That's why this whole idea, especially on TikTok, and TikTok is infested with this, where you have 100% almost of our women outside of truth talking about they want a man to come in, and when they say they want a provider, they're not talking about a man coming in and providing and basically taking care of the necessities of life, like, you know, your bills, so forth and so on. They want a man to provide them with a luxury life. You're going on extravagant vacations. You're going to 5-star steakhouses every week. And by the way, in case nobody told y'all, a lot of those 5-star steakhouses like Ruth Chris and Papa Do's and stuff, if you ever buy the steak is mid. It's not even that good. It's not even that good. First of all, you got Edomites back there preparing it. It's not even seasoned the way we like it. I'm telling y'all, it's a waste of money. You go in there and get a tomahawk steak and pay $250 for a tomahawk steak that's mid. But a lot of our sisters have TikTok brain and Instagram brain, and they want to get dressed up in the Louis and the Prada and this and that, and go to these fancy steakhouses where the tab is going to be $1,000 or more to go eat a mid-meal, to take pictures to put on the gram. Because they're empty inside. It's all about the outside. Don't be that sister. That's the point. Especially if you're married. You should be. They say comparison is the thief of joy. As a married woman, especially an Israelite woman, you should not be looking and comparing your life and what you have and you don't have to another sister, whether they be in the truth or in the world. That's off. If you have a husband that's putting 100% effort into providing you with the best life he possibly can, that is a gift from God. Because as you can see, if you have two eyes, there's too many brothers out here that have women that don't want to do anything, that will get you pregnant and leave you. If you have a man that's standing by your side and doing his best, you have already been blessed. I just need for y'all to know that. All right, let's move on. This is their face when they hear the word subjection. So I wanted to do a comparison. So we have 1 Peter 3. We just read it. Likewise, you wives, be in subjection to your own husband. Right? Then you have Ephesians 5:22. It says, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husband. Now, I know somebody was like, wait a minute, you said it's submission, not subjection. You thought I contradicted myself, but I didn't. Let's come back here. It was the translator's choice to use two different English words here. This word right here gets sisters triggered, but this right here definitely gets sisters triggered because we read earlier that subjection is to be forced. So it sounds aggressive. But actually, when you look at the Greek, it's the same word. It's hypotasso. It's hypotasso. It's the same word. Why they chose to use different English words, I don't know. But don't take this word subjection as though you're being forced. It's something that's supposed to be done willingly, according to the scriptures. You're not going to be put in some type of subjection where your man is physically intimidating you or abusing you. The Bible does not promote that. That's why we over here at Lions of Israel, that's why we go into the Greek and the Hebrew to see what's there, because these things can be confusing. And some of these ideas can also turn people away from the scriptures if you don't make it make sense for them. All right? All right. This is 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 6. It says, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord. I told y'all about that earlier. So Sarah was in submission to Abraham. She called him her Lord. How many of you sisters call your husband your Lord? I would bet not even half. Because even though you're in the truth, you know, whatever it is, call a man your Lord is like, that's a little too much for y'all. Yeah, you're gonna have to get into the kingdom to do that. I know. 1 Peter 3, verse 6, it says, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters ye are. So if you're Sarah's daughters and she did that, Your husband is your Lord. It's okay, sister. It's okay. It's just a word. It's nothing crazy. As long as you do well, then you are Sarah's daughters, and are not afraid with any amazement. Now look at this. Even though Sarah called Abraham Lord and she was subject to him, like I mentioned, look at Genesis 21, verse 12. And God said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad, talking about Ishmael, because Sarah said, get him out of here. And because of thy bondwoman, in all that Sarah hath said unto thee, hearken unto her, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called. So even though the overall dynamic of the marriage is that the wife is supposed to be in submission to her husband because he's the leader, even within that dynamic, the Bible leaves room for you to listen to your wife. So sisters, you do have a voice. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's not as bad as what you think. Any man with any sense is going to listen to his wife. Any man with any sense that's going to make a decision for his household that affects everybody under that household is going to have a conversation with his wife. Notice I said a man with sense. Because y'all are one. And she may be able to see something that you can't see, that you're blinded to. She may be able to see your blind spots. So there is balance in the scriptures. But ultimately, whatever decision is made should be made by the man as the head of the household. That way, the consequences of the decision, if it goes wrong, fall on him and not you. As the old proverbial saying goes, pressure was made for shoulders and not hips. Y'all ever heard that before? Pressure was made for shoulders and not hips. Men thrive under pressure. That's why he's put as the head. He can think logically even in the face of pressure because he's more in tune with his logic and his emotions. And nothing wrong with emotions. Nothing wrong with that. But that's just the way the man is wired. Everybody got it? Okay.
Hey, Priest, you know what? If I can say something real quick,
Yeah.
I think it's they got the feminist movement and the movement before that influenced it. That's what painted a bad picture, because when you think about it, a lot of these biblical dynamics of how the family should be, right? It's been in it's been in practice throughout the world. Most people who follow the scriptures, they have been doing that throughout the world, right? But it's just for some reason, man, Hollywood or whatever, feminism mixed with Hollywood, they just painted a horrible picture, like the woman was being held captive at gunpoint or knife point. You know what I'm saying? Like she couldn't talk, she couldn't do nothing. I don't think that's what it was. I think that narrative was brought about through feminism and all that to make us believe that, oh, it was so horrible and blah blah blah. And to prove my point, after, right, they became equal, or society says, okay, a woman is equal to a man and everything, blah 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 blah. Look what happened now. How has that benefited America? How has that benefited the world, so to speak? Right? So they got tricked. They got tricked 2 times. They got tricked to believe that they was under pressure and they was being oppressed. And then they got tricked again because now that they got it, they turned around and saw that the world wasn't that much all what it was cracked up to be, right? So now you sit here by yourself. You're like, well, you're a woman. You don't need no man. And it's leading down the road of loneliness, destruction, this, that, the third. And now everybody who come to America, they follow it. Not only that, America export it. So now the whole world, like you said, you got Asians, you got the gender wars in all these countries, right? So there's no place where you don't see the gender war. I just wanted to bring that out, man. The devil is a lie, man. And that devil, he just transformed everybody. He just painted a picture to make it look like, yo, you was really under pressure. You was really being a second-class citizen. No, you wasn't. Because I'm pretty sure in the snowstorm, back to the snowstorm, Priest, a woman wouldn't mind being a second-class citizen, having a man come out there, dig their snow out, right? But because, they by themselves, they got to do it. So I just wanted to bring that out real quick.
The amount of videos I saw on TikTok this week of single women talking about they wish they had a man to shovel the snow. I saw so many videos like that. And most likely, I was saying to myself as I was watching, it's not because in my mind, as I'm, thinking in my mind as I'm watching the sisters, I'm like, more likely than not, if I was to know you, I bet you it's not because you can't get a man. It's not because men are not interested in you. It's that when they get with you, you can't submit. You can't submit. You can't really work with a man and get along with a man. That's why you don't have one. You're not an unattractive sister, but it's your spirit. And a lot of sisters in the world, that's the problem. It's very easy for a woman to get a man. Very easy. Very easy. All they got to do is walk outside, put on a nice outfit and walk outside, and you could get a husband for it before you get back home, right? But now, can you keep that man? And what does it take to keep a man? We got to ask them that question too. And a lot of them fail on that question as well. Going back to what I was saying, another example of somebody listening to a woman, even though he was a heathen, right? When Esther went to the king about the oppression that our people were under, right? The king listened to her. He didn't have to. She was scared that he wasn't going to listen to her. Matter of fact, she wasn't invited. He didn't invite her to come. She was scared he was going to kill her for showing up uninvited, right? But she went to save her people, and he listened to her. Now, of course, we know the story. He listened to her because she was beautiful. Let's be real, right? But he listened to her. And that's the value of, again, not being an empty shell, like we read before, not being an empty shell where you're plated in all this gold and, like it says here, and the outward appearance, but there's nothing upstairs. No, you got to be like Esther. You got to have something upstairs that when you actually open your mouth, there's something of substance is actually coming out. That's the point. And people will respect you and listen to you. Even people who you are in submission to will still value your opinion. That's why you have, if you look at the way a kingdom is established, you have a king, right? But the king has advisors, right? He could just be absolute, like, I don't want nobody's opinion, right? But even though they submit to him, he still listens to what they tell him. And in many cases, he takes their judgment and he follows it. That's what David did, right? But guess what? Rehoboam didn't do that. Rehoboam was given counsel by people that submitted to him, but because he was the king, he's like, to hell with your counsel. I'm going to do what I want to do. And we see how that turned out for him. So no wise person in a position of leadership, whether it be over a congregation, whether it be a king, or even in a marriage, is not going to listen to people that might submit to him if he perceives you to be someone that is prudent, like it said in the book of Proverbs. That's the idea. Be someone that's wise. When you open your mouth, you say something of substance. That's the idea. Let's move on. Ephesians chapter 5, verses 1 through 21 is a general admonition or admonishment to the church of Ephesus, which ends with the members of the church submitting themselves to each other. You have the leadership, you have the members, so forth and so on, and they all submit themselves to each other. Even though that there's a hierarchy or order, they all submit themselves to each other. Even though there is a leadership team, the leadership team must also practice submission, i.e., listening to members, listening to suggestions, listening to concerns, listening to gripes, and factoring all those things into your decisions. When we have our camp councils, we open the floor and people are able to tell myself and Elder Zahab their opinions, their concerns, their suggestions, so forth and so on. And then we try to make decisions based on that, along with our wisdom. We make the best decisions we can for the camp, but we always factor in people's, like I said, suggestions and concerns. So as a man in a marriage, you should be doing the same. But I want you brothers to know something, since we're talking about submission. Leadership is not a birthright. What do I mean by that? Just because you come out and you have an XY chromosome does not mean that you are fit for leadership. It doesn't mean that. Every man is not a leader. Every man is a leader of his household, but every man is not a leader. And quite frankly, since to be over a household means you're going to be leading your husband and children, really and truly in this day and age, every man is not husband material. We're quick to say every sister is not wife material, but a lot of brothers are not husband material because a husband is a leader. If you're these guys watching TV all day, you got Cheeto dust all over your daggone jeans, you're scrolling through TikTok all day long, and you're not doing nothing, you're not productive, you're not ready to be a husband. You have no job. You live in your mother's house, on your mother's room, mother's house, and you're 35, 40 years old. You're not ready to be a husband. You're not ready to give anybody instructions. You need to be well ordered yourself. You need to mortify your members first. Get yourself in order. Because women will gladly submit to a man that they deem capable of leading. They got to see that in you. Too many times men demand submission, and you need to look in the mirror and realize they don't want to. They're not submitting to you because they don't want to submit. They're not submitting to you because they don't see you as capable of doing it. That must be factored in. Let's listen to the video.
Yo, I feel like we as men got to put a little more time and energy into being leaders. I feel like most of the issues that we have in terms of relationships stem from the fact that most men are not leaders. A lot of men feel like just because we're born men that leadership is a birthright. That's just simply not true. And the reality is women are looking for somebody to take a back seat. They're looking for a man to lead them, a man that knows where he's going, a man that has structure, a man that has a plan. But if you don't have those things, how can you expect a woman to ever take you serious? That's just like going to the airport and buying a ticket, but the lady says, hey, the pilot's never flown before, he's never practiced, he doesn't have GPS, he doesn't know where the hell we're going. We just gonna get up there, pray, and freestyle. You're not buying that ticket. So how can you expect a woman to do that exact same thing with you?
And that's the part that we don't talk about. We talk all this thing about women submit, women need to submit, women need to submit. But we never talk about what they're submitting to. And do you have a plan? Do you have a navigation system? Do you have a GPS? Do you have a map that will get you to your destination? If you don't have that, you need to work on yourself. That's the idea.
Yo.
Ladies and brothers, please don't be this guy. Do not be this guy. This guy is a fool. Let's watch the video. Did you guys catch that? Nobody wants to live with someone that doesn't hear them and doesn't think their opinion is worthwhile. Yes, she's supposed to submit to you, but you still, as the husband, are supposed to hear her, and her opinion is worthwhile. But sisters, make sure that you're saying something that's worthwhile. Be prudent. I gotta say that part. Let's go back. So for those of y'all that don't know what's happening, when he was talking, he appealed to the Bible first. That's exactly what I said do not do. You appeal to the Bible and say what the Bible says, but your actions are not reflecting what's on the pages. That's why the wife is not listening to you. You're not reflecting what you're reading. So as the judge said, technically it says that, but at the same time, are you reflecting what you want her to do? Are you capable? That's the idea. I'm going to play it all the way through this time, y'all. All right, a good leader doesn't pretend he doesn't know something he doesn't know. That's why you have advisors to advise you in areas where you may not know. You're still a leader. Even within the confines of your marriage and your wife submitting to you, there may be something that she's better at or she knows more about. It's okay. Doesn't make you less of a man. You got a mic drop on it. A true leader doesn't have to ask anybody to follow. A true leader is going someplace that people want to go. I can't say it no better myself, so I won't. Let's move on. This is Genesis 3:16. It says, unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thine husband, and he shall rule over thee. This is Proverbs 16, verse 19. It says, a man's heart deviseth his way, but the Lord directeth his steps. Submission to God, so your wife will submit to you. Meaning, your wife that you want to submit is watching if you're submitting to God. If she sees that you're not submitting to God, you only cosplaying being an Israelite, meaning that once you're not in your garments, once you're not on social media, whatever like that, you're going to the strip clubs, you're partying, you're doing whatever that you're not supposed to do. Yeah, the brotherhood can't see you and the sisterhood can't see you, but your wife can see you and your children can see you too. So one of the easiest ways to get your wife to be submissive is to submit yourself to God. If she sees that you're fully invested in submitting yourself to God, you have a much better chance of your wife being submissive to you. A man's heart deviseth his way. Your heart is your mind in the Hebrew. But the Lord directeth his steps, meaning you may devise a way to do things the way you see fit to do them, right? But the Most High may have something else in mind for you. That's most of us, if not all of us, on this live stream right now. I don't think any of us envisioned ourselves at this point in our lives, whatever point you are in your life, doing what it is that you're doing. You had other plans. You had other things that you wanted to do. You had other aspirations and goals. But the Most High directed your path and your steps and led you to this truth. And you have to continue to allow the Most High to direct your paths, even in this truth, when you embark on new things. Especially one of the main things is when you embark on marriage. The Most High has to be the one to guide the marriage. You have to pray to the Most High to give you wisdom, as Solomon did, to make right decisions that's best for you and your family and your household. This is James 4, verses 7 through 8. It says, submit yourselves, therefore, to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Draw nigh to God, and he will draw nigh to you. Cleanse your hands, ye sinners, and purify your hearts, ye double-minded. Now let's listen to this video real quick. I'm going to turn it all the way up. Let's go.
A woman can't submit to a man that doesn't submit to God. That's the qualifier right there. Because what she's doing is saying that I'm submitting to your act of submission to God. This is your vision. Because now she can hold you accountable.
Did you guys catch that? Or better yet, did you guys catch that? Because sometimes you're so focused on the man. I gotta submit to him. You're not submitting to him really. By submitting to your man that follows God, you're submitting to God. Because your man is submitting to God. So everything that's coming through that man is from God. So technically you're submitting to God anyway. You understand? It's locked in.
You straight from what you say you submit to, she ain't gotta submit no more. Because you no longer submit to God. So now she can't, because it's like a direct correlation where she's basically submitting to God through you at the same time. You a vessel. If a man doesn't have a vision, you don't need a woman. Because
she's submitting to God through you. You're just a vessel. You are submitting to God through your husband, sister. He's just a vessel. If you look at it that way, submission is not that hard. It's really not. Let's go back a little bit.
Where she's basically submitting to God through you at the same time. But you a vessel. If a man doesn't have a vision, you don't need a woman. Because what she's saying is, I agree to this program that you have.
All right, let's move to the next one.
The woman.
This is Proverbs 29, verse 18. It says, where there is no vision, the people perish. but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. You need a vision for your wife to submit to. Where do you plan on going? What do you plan on doing? What are you trying to accomplish? Where are you taking the family? Because she's a part of that. Wherever you go, she gonna go. Wherever you end up, she gonna end up. So she want to know where she gonna end up. So you need to have a vision. And you need to express this vision to your wife and the steps and everything that you're going to take to get there. And if it's a competent, well, first of all, if she's a woman of God, she's going to submit to the vision based on the fact that she trusts you. But you as a man have to follow through with your plan and your vision. Let's listen to the video.
A woman is being submissive. It's not technically submitting to the man in like some arbitrary sense. The man is submitted to the vision. So I say, okay, in the next 3 to 5 years, I'm building into and leading my life in this direction. When that woman meets that man, she gets exposed to that man's vision because she's seeing his vision in his action. If he has a vision and his action doesn't match, he's visionless. So, right, because you're not giving me any example. Right? The example you're giving me is taking me to turmoil in a worse reality than you have right now. Or if I follow you, the life I live will get worse. But a woman isn't looking for a man who's perfect, has everything, even though online, yes, some women are like just leeches, just want to take, and all they think about is taking. But most women are not like that. Most women are observing a man's trajectory, right? And so it's like, okay, if I follow this man, where am I going to end up?
So if you're having problems with a woman submitting to you, part of the problem is that she's looking at the trajectory, meaning where y'all going to end up. And she's not liking what she's seeing because she's not seeing the vision. She's not really seeing you striving for better. And since you guys are one, wherever you end up, she ends up. We don't take these things into consideration. We push submission. I'm talking about the men. In this community, we push submission as subjection. We try to force the women into it, not understanding why because some women are just rebellious. Let's keep it a buck. But not understanding why some sisters have trouble with submitting to certain things because the man is actually not doing his end because nobody tells the men what it takes to get a woman to submit to you, a righteous woman. It takes a vision. She got to see something in you to the point where she trusts you. Like, you know what? I fully trust you that you are not going to do something that would have us end up in a bad position. So she's basically surrendering her autonomy and putting her trust in you that you will not have your family end up in a bad position. That's a hell of a responsibility and a hell of a pressure for a man. That's why I said pressure was made for shoulders and not hips. Right? So you have to have something, be doing something, be able to show her something. That's the idea. Let's continue.
Right. And so how does a woman determine a man's trajectory? It was habits.
It was habits.
It is right now. So a man can have $10 million and it's on a downward trajectory. And a man can have $2,000 on an upward trajectory, earning $10,000 a week. And the guy has $10 million is losing $20,000 a day. And at some point,
those are the athletes. Let's go back a little bit. Those are the athletes. You could tell somebody's vision through their habits. So you could have $10 million and be on a downward trajectory if, like these athletes, you're spending your money on cars, houses, strippers, and all types of stupidness. You have no real vision. That's why most athletes end up broke. Whereas you could be a man that's got $2,000 in the bank, but you are on an upward trajectory because you got a vision. Women know that. They get with the athletes to basically bleed their pockets and then they leave them. Anyway.
His actions is right now. So a man can have $10 million and it's on a downward trajectory. A man can have $2,000 on an upward trajectory, earning $10,000 a week. And the guy has $10 million is losing $20,000 a day. And at some point, these two will trade places. And so trajectory is the thing a man should focus on, not for the woman, because the vision is not for the woman. The woman aligns with the vision a man has,
And then in that place is where she will trade the softer side of the journey, where he's going to be initiating towards the vision. She's going to have to trade. Okay, he's going to go, I'm going to take on the responsibility, right? And I'm also going to have authority over the vision, right? He has to get both. Anybody who's going to lead is going to have the authority and the responsibility. Now, often a woman does not want responsibility for what we said earlier. With responsibility comes stress, pressure, consequences, work, activity, no flow. And so that's a lot to manage. And so often a woman desires a softer reality. But a woman must also understand that you can't have...
Right. The softer reality we can talk about is the kingdom. The reason why the men are chosen to go out and teach and everything is because the pressure and everything that comes with the teaching, the bumps and bruises that comes with the teaching, the going out there and being hated that comes with the teaching. Y'all don't want to deal with that. The sisters want the kingdom. Sure you do. But you don't want to deal with what we deal with. Because you weren't created to deal with what we deal with. But you're going to be able to partake in what we deal with. So you believe in the vision that we, the teachers, through the inspiration of the scriptures, the vision that we're pushing towards, the direction that we're going, that the Bible tells us to go. You believe in the vision, so you have submitted yourself to the vision by being a part of this. But the reason why the men have the authority is because we're the ones that's actually, the pressure is on to achieve the goal. That's the idea. We got to go out here and do the work. And when things go well, great. But when things go wrong and things fail, we got to take the blame, right? A lot of y'all sisters, if you really know, you don't want that. You don't want that.
Heavy is the head that wear the crown, right?
Right.
Everything the buck stops with you, because if you stop producing, next thing you know, this dude, this, that, the third, every name in the book. When things is going good, but men are used to that because that's just how we are. That's what life, kind of dishes and gives to us. And to back up what you're saying, priest, you're exactly right. That's why the Lord chose us, because we could go out there and take the bumps and bruises from our people, accusations and the insults and the this, that, the third, the police harassment, this, that, the third, the fights, the this, you know what I mean? And, I'm not saying all sisters can't do it. Majority of sisters, you can't do that. So we have to play the position that was given to us. That's our job. And your job is to believe in the vision and to play your part and comfort and do what you have to do. Right? So absolutely, man. All praise to the Most High. We're just tools, and we're applying or being the right tool for the right job. You don't want to use the wrong tool for the wrong job, because then it's going to be more work. I'll land.
Right. After we get beat down and whatever, your job as the woman is to come in, man, and just bandage the wounds. You didn't take the punches, you didn't take the blows. You just bandage the wounds, right? And at the end of the day, we're all going to get the same thing. See what I'm saying? All right, let's continue.
Someone take responsibility for you and they have no authority over it. That's the typical work environment. If somebody's a manager, they have authority and they have responsibility. When problems come, we blame the manager, but the manager can't be taking all of the blame and have no say. So that's the trade-off. You get the positives and negatives.
All right. Well said. Let's move on. Titus chapter 1. I'm going to skip this for now because it's kind of repetitive. This is 1 Corinthians 11, verse 1. It says, "Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Christ, Mashiach Yahushua. Now I praise you, brethren, that ye remember me in all things and keep the ordinances as I delivered them to you. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God." Submission starts with man and God. Same way the women have to submit to their husband, the man has to submit to God. So we all submit to somebody, right?
If you submit to God, it makes it easier for your woman to submit to you. A lot of times, oftentimes, we find ourselves requiring a person or woman to submit to us, but we don't have anything that we're submitted to. Or we do have things that we're submitted to, but it ain't with God. We have other idols that we're submitted to. We're submitted to the rappers that we listen to. We're submitted to the mentors that we have that aren't living right. We're submitted to our careers, right? But when
you're submitted to God, then she also knows that you're going to be walking in through the Spirit. She also knows that you're going to be convicted of your sins. She also knows that you are held to a higher standard, and you know that you're held to a higher standard. She also knows that you have somebody to turn to versus going to worldly things. She also knows that you're being covered, and if you're being covered, then she's going to be covered, and if she's being covered, then the kids are going to be covered, right? But when you're not submitted to God, all of these things are different. When you're not submitted to God, you don't feel bad or feel convicted for talking to her crazy, for going out there and disrespecting her, for not honoring her body or honoring your body, right? For not doing the things that you say you were going to do, for not showing up and being a husband or being a father or being a loyal and faithful man. Those things go out the window when you're not submitted to God.
I don't have nothing to add to that. I have nothing to add to that. Let's move on. Traits of a leader: humility, integrity, and honesty. Servant leadership, meaning if you're a leader, you do realize that you are a servant. I teach this all the time. Leaders are not tyrants. A true leader is a servant of his people. Solomon prayed to the Most High to give him wisdom to do what? To lead the people, to serve them. A leader has wisdom and discernment, courage and conviction, self-control and difference, provides and protects. Listen to the video.
But then what also makes her feel safe if she has the type of guy that can lead, but she can trust him. So a lot of women will say, I don't mind submitting to a man as long as I can trust you. But then you might say that word and it might trigger some people. But we have to have a proper understanding of what that means. When we say that, what we're saying is you're trusting the man because he has shown leadership traits that you like and make you feel safe. So you give him a high level of cooperation. You're agreeable with him. No one's saying to agree to a man that don't have a plan and is leading you in the wrong direction. That's absolutely not it.
All right, let's go to the next. 1 Corinthians 7, 28 and 29. But, and if thou marry, thou hast not sinned, and if a virgin marry, she hath not sinned. Nevertheless, such shall have trouble in the flesh, but I spare you. But this I say, brethren, the time is short, it remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they have none. A man must prioritize his purpose over everything. A lot of sisters can't understand this, but you don't come first. God comes first. And the purpose that God gave us is to rebuild this nation, to draw the people back to Christ through his word. That comes first. You don't. And a lot of sisters can't understand that the purpose comes first. It comes before the wife and the children.
Ladies, I want y'all to hear me and hear me loud and clear. When it comes to men and their purpose, the purpose of a man comes before anything. And that purpose should only be found in what God has given him to do. But if you expect that man to be up under you over his purpose, or you're trying to slow him down, that relationship or situation will not work.
Don't get married. If you're a sister that wants the man to make you number one, what Jaheim say? You put your woman first. If that's your mentality, marry a worldly man, because you don't come first. I know that's cold for some of you sisters. You don't come first. You gonna say something, Zahar?
Nah, you brother. I was gonna say the same thing, that Jaheim put the woman first, because that's what society's pushing. That you as a woman need to be first priority. He needs to think about you 24/7. Nah, that's not how it works, sister. That's a narcissist way of looking at things. Go ahead, priest.
Okay, let's continue.
You should be finding a man that can operate in his purpose while also handling and dealing with you. If that man seems like he's thrown off by spending time with you, then he'll never truly be able to live up to his truest potential, because he is not prioritizing his purpose. The purpose comes before any and everything. So don't get jealous at a man that's operating in his purpose. Understand that. And if he's not operating in his purpose, that is not a man that you need.
That's why Paul said in verse 29 right here, but I say, brethren, the time is short, it remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they have none. Why? Because women want time, as they should. The Bible says you should render to your wife due benevolence, right? Benevolence goes down to kindness, and then there's subcategories as well. But sometimes, she wants kindness too much to the point where you can't do God's work. And so if you're somebody that wants your husband to dedicate 100% of his time to you, You may not be marriage material, sister, or your mind may not be ready to be your wife. Not to an Israelite. You can get you a guy in the world, maybe he'll make you the center of his universe, but an Israelite, the center of his universe is God. It's Yahweh. That's it. I can't tell y'all no plainer than that. All right. This is submission does not mean your husband can't take your advice on situations. So we talked about earlier how Abraham was instructed by God to listen to Sarah. I want y'all to listen to this sister. She does have a Jamaican accent, but she's spitting straight facts. Being submissive to your man is one of the sexiest things on earth, and it doesn't mean he's controlling you. I told y'all, it's not subjugation at all. Submission is actually power, but that may be for another class. Listen to the sister.
Talking to a young lady today about being submissive to your man. Being submissive to somebody that you love is the most enticing, sexiest thing on earth. Being submissive doesn't mean that the man is controlling. Being submissive means that you respect your man and you respect him as the leader of your household. Because I don't expect you as a smart, sensible woman to pick up somebody who cannot lead. Now, when you're married or when you're in a relationship with somebody that you love and trust, it's not hard to be submissive, especially if he respects you and treats you well. And treating you well doesn't only mean buying you fancy stuff and giving you money. He listens. He's a leader. He's a role model for your kids and even you yourself. So stop comparing submissiveness.
All right. I think that's she said a mouthful. Let's go ahead and move on. All right. This is Sirach 25, verse 1. In three things I was beautified and stood up beautiful, both before God and men, the unity of brethren, the love of neighbors, and a man and a wife that agreed together. This whole idea of happy wife, happy life was poison. It should be happy spouse, happy house. Both people need to be happy in a relationship to a degree. Both people need to be respected and heard in the relationship. Happy spouse, happy house. Let's listen to the sister.
Unpopular opinion. Most men are not selfish at all. They actually put themselves last. When it comes to their families and their households, and especially you, that man puts his happiness on the back burner to make sure everybody around him is taken care of, to make sure everybody's needs is met. Which is why it's important for you, as his partner, to make sure that he's taken care of, to make sure that he has all the little things that he may need. No matter how tired you are from the day, I get it. You got to be a mama, you got to be a chef, you got to be the cleaner sometimes, you the maid, you running around doing all the chores. I got it. But you still have to make sure that that man is taken care of in the same manner that he's making sure that you are taken care of. That his happiness is just as important to you as yours is to him. That's your job. It's part of being a good partner. Trust me. He's going to appreciate it. And you'll get all those little things that you say you want and desire from him, because he will notice your extra effort to make sure that he's seen.
Now, what I want you brothers to notice, I get a lot of these videos from TikTok because the way the TikTok algorithm works, you would think that all the women are corrupted. They're not. There's a lot of sisters out here that get it. Just like there's a lot of good brothers out here, there are a lot of good sisters out here. Their voices may not be as loud as the rebellious and toxic ones, but there's a lot of sisters that's on this app that's trying to counteract the programming that's on that app. And those two sisters I show you are two of the loudest voices. I got a lot of respect for both of them. Both of them. And they speak number facts. Right? I'm going to skip this for now for the sake of time. But this is a book called Liberated Through Submission. Right? But I'll skip it for the sake of time for now. Let's go to Sirach 36, verse 24 and 25. It says, he that getteth a wife beginneth a possession, a help like unto himself, and a pillar of rest. And a pillar of rest. Let's go and let's play the video.
I love to see him eat the meal that I cook. I love seeing him sleep easy. Like every night, like clockwork, I scratch this man's back to sleep. And I know when he's asleep because I can tell when his breathing changes. And some people might think that's psychotic, but that's like, I just know that's when I'm like, oh, I can stop now. But I find joy in being
I got to stop it right there. I got a question for the sisters. You could just answer this yourself. Do you find joy in being your man's rest? That's what she said. She finds joy in being his rest. Do you feel that way? You ain't got to answer. I'm just asking.
What does a submissive woman do for her man? Everything. What's it? Just making sure all the things that he wants, and I pretty much read his mind. So it's like if I know you and I study you, like I know how you are in the morning, I know how you are about midday, I know when you're in this mood, what you need. Like before you can ever ask me for something, I'm already on it. I think my biggest flex is how much you know me, and I really.
And you don't understand. I got to play that back. A lot of women don't understand that. That's where the power dynamic in a relationship changes. If you become a woman that can read your man's mind and you know what he needs before he says it, you know what he needs without him saying it. Do you understand how the power dynamic shifts in a relationship? That man will move heaven and earth for you. I don't think they get it. I don't think they get it.
That is a fact, brother. That is a
They're
fact.
trying to be equal to the man. They're trying to. Why don't I be submissive to you? You don't understand. You don't have the strength as a woman to move heaven and earth. You don't have the strength for the pressure that comes with this world. You don't have it. So the Most High gives you a man to take on all the pressures and the problems that you don't want. All you're asked to do is treat him a certain way, and that man will move heaven. Do you guys understand modern technology exists because of women? Men have created this world and tamed this world and chopped down trees and got rid of wild animals and built houses in places that were once, America was once a goddamn forest, right? Trees were chopped down, houses were built, cities were built, so forth and so on, to make things comforting for women. That's why men did it. Most technologies and luxuries are created with women in mind because women like comfort. Men are going and braving, going into these caves and mining diamonds and everything for women, not for men. Women love that stuff. Men like it too, but women really like that stuff. What are we talking about? All you got to do is be nice. That's it.
Hey, priest, there's one factor missing from your presentation, and I know it's a whole different thing that you don't want to get into, but consider this. Sometimes the sisters who are bucking up and they cringe when they hear submit, they just rebellious. A lot of times those sisters they have past trauma. You know what I mean? They grew up in a chaotic household. They saw their mama treat their daddy like that.
Yeah.
So, and it's carried over. So I don't want it to seem as if, the women are rebellious. They're just rebellious for no reason. A lot of them are dealing with past trauma, and that can't be said enough. Also, that's another factor of the equation.
Yeah, and so this is what the beauty of the truth, because you come into the truth, and the truth is supposed to help you heal your trauma. It's supposed to help you heal your trauma. That's what it's supposed to do. And when you mention something that you mentioned, Zahab, it's a slippery slope, because if we were to grant sisters that, we have to grant the boys that grew up that were abused by their mother the same thing, because you have some women that abuse their sons because they had a lot. They the father and them didn't get along, right? The boy looked just like his daddy, and so the woman abuses him his whole life. And we don't excuse him to grow up and beat and to terrorize women. We're gonna be like, that's not an excuse. We don't care. Every woman didn't do that to you. Your mother did. You got to heal that trauma, that mama trauma, whatever you have. You know what I'm saying? You got to heal that. It's not an excuse to treat women bad. So we have to hold the sisters to the same standard. Yes, I agree with you. There are some sisters that grew up and their father wasn't what he was supposed to be, and they have traumas behind that and stuff like that. And I do agree, but the Bible is supposed to heal us of that. So I definitely will say we can't grant too much grace to sisters in the truth if you're using that as an excuse, just as we cannot grant that to brothers in the truth that may have mommy issues. That's too bad. You got to work on that. That's what the scriptures are for. If the scriptures don't help you, go get a therapist and talk to the therapist, but you got to fix it. Just, it is what it is. Let's continue. We're almost done, y'all.
Just making sure all the things that he wants, and I pretty much read his mind. So it's like if I know and I study you, like I know how you are in the morning, I know how you are about midday, I know when you're in this mood, what you need. Like before you can ever ask me for something, I'm already on it. I think my biggest flex is how much you love me, and I've been known to love people back to health. Sometimes it's very draining, but my love is my superpower, and I used to hate that about myself, but now it's like I'm just embracing it. That's who I am. Like if I love you, I can heal you. Like as a submissive person, what do you have to be mindful of to ensure you're not being taken advantage of?
All right. Just listen. I don't got much to say. Just listen.
You can post your man all day, brag to your friends about him, but if there's no peace at home, none of it matters. One of the things for sure that I know is men are not complicated. They don't need a standing ovation every single time they pay a bill. They don't need a parade every single time that they do something for you. A man knows his position and his manly duties, and he's happy to do that when he's being respected and loved how he should be. One of the things that he wants for sure is to be able to come home to peace. He doesn't want to argue over things that don't matter. He doesn't want any competition, no chaos. He just wants calm. See, when a man walks in the door, his mind is already carrying everything. Work, stress, pressure, and responsibility. What he craves is a woman that helps him to excel. A woman that makes his home feel like peace, not another battlefield. Let me be clear. He is not looking for a woman that is perfect. You just need to be kind. Understand this. Men don't remember every single word you say, but they definitely will remember how you made them feel when they are tired and they need rest. Men do not need praise. They need peace. And the woman that can give him that, he will give her everything.
I have nothing to add to that. I have nothing to add to that. 1 Timothy 3, verse 4 and 5. One that ruleth well his own house, having his children in subjection with all gravity. For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of God? I need for you brothers to listen to this, because amongst the men, we understand this. I don't think you sisters understand this. The men understand this. A man judges another man by the behavior of his woman. If his woman is out of order, you look at the man, you're weak. Because you're there with her. You should have dismissed her a long time ago. Men judge other men based on their women. I don't know if you sisters knew that, but if you didn't, you know it now. So if you are out of order or rebellious and not listening to your man, it's a bad reflection on him. And trust me, other men don't respect him. I'm just letting y'all know that.
We judge a man by looking at his woman. If we see that your woman ain't, she ain't right, we know your self-esteem is low. If she's not, what we look at and say, bro, that's your choice. That's what represents you. You judge a man by how his kids and how his woman looks, not him.
The brother didn't even know he's speaking scripture. You judge a man by how his woman and his children. You judge him by that. That's Bible.
Bro, that's your choice. That's what represents you. You judge a man by how his kids and how his woman looks, not him. If you see a man standing across the street and he don't got a haircut and his hands are, real, dirty, and he's in front of a mechanic shop and he got on blue overalls and his boots are real oily, and you looking at him, you sitting in your car, you looking at him, you're like, okay, his beard is rough, and he looks a little disheveled, right? You looking at him and you've already categorized him. He's a hard-working man, but you're not looking at him saying, okay, I'm looking. But when his woman pulls up, right, and she's in a Range Rover, and you look at her, and she jump out the car, and you look at her hair, you look at them shoes, you look at her nails, you look at her skin, you look at her teeth, you look at that ring on her finger. She's a whole. You looking at that man there with that greasy overall set on, and you say, oh, okay, I get it now. Okay, you him. Because you pride yourself on making sure that she look like her.
men judge you on stuff like that. So I want you guys to understand that also you could add to that behavior. As well. I just want you to know that. Hey, 1 Pt 3 and 7, likewise, ye husbands dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, as being heirs together. Even though the men have to take the bumps and the bruises, we're all going to inherit the promises, the women and the men, right? Now, we don't know, we know Candace Owens, we don't agree with a lot of stuff, but right here, she was on point.
Something that women say to me all the time. Why don't you make your husband a sandwich? Okay. Is he hungry? Does he want a sandwich? Did he say something? I make my husband food the last 4 nights. I made my husband dinner. Like, I don't understand this weird they're trying to shame women for taking care of their families. Like, that is another element of feminism that I cannot stand. It's an attack on family and these things that work. It works. Men are biologically unable to have children. So the aspiration to climb a ladder forever, to wake up every single day and not have to worry about being pregnant for 9 months, I mean, that makes sense. We're different creatures, you know?
I think that's like a troll, though. Now it's like, all you're good for is like, yo, make me something to eat.
No, that whole concept came from rabid feminists. Like, there was something wrong with being in the kitchen, right? Okay. And this was sort of this push of women get out of the home and go to work, which has made so many women miserable. So many women miserable.
No need to add to that. I think it's pretty well said. This is sad. Let's watch the video.
Should he have any control over what you wear when you go out?
Oh, hell no.
Let's read the scripture first. This is Proverbs 12, verse 4. A virtuous woman is a crown to her husband. Crown represents rulership. You give respect, status, whatever. If you have a woman that carries herself a certain way, we respect you. We just saw the brother saying we judge a man by his woman and his kids, right? So I'm telling y'all, we about to judge this fella in this video right now. I don't know this guy from nowhere. I got no respect for him. Let's play the video.
Should he have any control over what you wear when you go out?
Oh, hell no. No.
If Shawty wears something a little too big revealing urban, I should have a bit say so just because like you were a reflection of me. No. If that makes sense.
No. I walked out here.
So he's saying he should. Who's in charge? Who's the leader? She was asked, should he have say? She said no. He said he feels like he should have some say. She said no, but he's still there. I don't respect you, bro. I don't respect you. That's what the brother was talking about. Zahab know what I'm talking about. As men, we look at that like, this dude is weak. I don't respect you. Okay.
Yeah, he's staying there for a reason.
What'd you say, Zahab?
He's there for a reason. He's staying there for a reason.
We know the reason. You don't have to say. We know the reason. This is crazy. Don't be this guy.
Should he have any control over what you wear when you go out?
Oh, hell no. No.
If Shawty wears something a little too big revealing urban, I should have a bit say so just because like you were a reflection of me.
Look at her head. No.
I walked out here this mini skirt. Right, because I'm a woman of 2023. Women can wear what they want to wear. I shouldn't have to talk to my husband about wearing what I should wear, you know?
You find like someone, but at the same time, also be respectable and respect your husband.
If I want to wear...
She said, respect your husband. She said, no.
But you know what, priest? Even before, and you know me, we know each other from before we came into the truth. Even back in the days, right? Brothers wouldn't go for that, right? You know what I'm saying? Before you knew about the scriptures, before you know how men and women are supposed to conduct themselves, just being a regular young man, you don't want no rebellious woman because she's a liability. She's a problem. A lot of these dudes who end up in problems, right, is because there was some way, somehow, there's a woman who's loose, right? She was out of pocket, like they say. And she's the main reason why a lot of dudes go off. And them dudes is just stupid to go along with it, man. Back in the days in the world, I can't do that. I'm sorry, sis. You got to keep it pushing. You're gonna end up having me get into some type of trouble trying to defend your dumb, silly behind. That's not going to work.
even in the world, I didn't have dudes that I couldn't be a friends with guys like this. I couldn't even be a friend. Like, I just get upset. Like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, bro? I don't
Come
get
on,
it.
man. You know how she do, right?
Yeah, no,
All
we
that
can't
goofy
be friends. We
talk.
can't even be friends, bro. I'm looking at you like, yo, bro, we don't match at all. Like, you just anyway.
Fine like someone, but at the same time, also be respectable and respect your
No,
husband.
if I want to wear a bralette, I can wear a bralette out. I shouldn't have to ask for permission. I shouldn't have to ask for permission.
No thing on your titties out.
I'm not taking my
We bring
titties
it
out.
up. We
He's
bring
saying
it
if
up.
I
We
wear a
bring it up. We
bralette
bring it up.
in underwear. That's what I'm saying. I know. A man should
I'm
not be able.
finna check this off
A
later.
man should not be able to tell a woman what she should and should not wear. It's 2023. If they're flying,
This is chaos. God damn it. Let's play.
that means men should not tell women what they
Go
should
back to
wear.
1990.
That's period. That's on anything. You should not be able to tell me what I have to wear. That's not no.
What about boundaries or respect?
We have boundaries.
No, we got plenty of
I respect
boundaries.
his opinion.
We got plenty of respect. I respect her opinion too. And then just like try to be more open-minded, right, but also respecting her. But at the same time, she gotta understand. A lot of new age people, like new generation, they don't like the whole, the man.
Y'all not paying attention. As he's talking, she closed the eyes and shook her head. She's getting tight. She don't give a damn what this dude is saying. Let's go back just a little bit. As he's talking, she closed the eyes and she's upset.
And then just like try to be more open-minded, right, but also respecting her. But at the same time, she gotta understand. A lot of new age people, like new generation, they don't like the whole, the man.
See, I've been thinking I'm nice. Priest Danielle is not that nice. I don't know if y'all know. That could not be me. What? Absolutely not. I'm going. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Hey, but at the same time, you gotta understand, a woman is nothing without a man, but a man is nothing without a woman. You can be on that single feminine shit. It's cool. I respect it. It's cool, but at the same time, a man gonna always bring everything together because that's our job. That's our nature.
Are you reading from the Bible right now? What are you talking about? Our job. It's 2023.
I'm not religious.
If a woman's a breadwinner,
there it is.
Right.
I ain't gotta watch movie. Huh?
What do you mean? She's like, oh, are you reading from the Bible? Yes. So what? Yes, the man is quoting from the Bible. Hey, witchcraft. That scriptures in what's this in 1 Samuel? It says rebellion is as witchcraft, man. So a lot of these women, they dabble into witchcraft because they feel they could do what they want to do, man. Come on. No, you can't do that.
I can't be friends with guys like this. This dude is a daggone. I can't be friends with guys. Our energy don't match. Anyway, I'm getting upset watching the video, so I'm gonna go to the next one. I can't be friends with guys like this. What? All right. Men who are ready for marriage love modest women. Listen. That's what that bro doesn't know. She's never going to be a wife. I'm going to go on record and say it. She's never going to be a wife with that mindset. Not to a strong man anyway. If she gets wiped up, it's going to be by a guy like that this week. Because men that want marriage want modest women. Period, point blank, full stop in the story. Listen. So men that are for the streets still, because we always talk about the women being for the streets. Men that are for the streets don't care how you dress. You could dress provocative and all that. And if they don't say nothing to you about it, sis, a lot of our sisters in the world need us to tell them this. If you dress provocatively and you have a man that does not say nothing about it, he doesn't care, it's all good, he was not gonna marry you, sis. That's why you see the videos where we've been living together for 5 years, 10 years. He's never asked me to marry him. Yes, sis, he did. He's not. 20 years from now, he's not. Because you dress provocative. He ain't gonna tell you. But the men of the Lord, we're gonna tell you. Hey, men that are looking for marriage is looking for women that dress modestly. These are facts. All right. So I say choose wisely. A lot of sisters are not getting wiped up because they've fallen on this train of this provocative dressing for social media and likes and clout, so forth and so on. And they dress online like that. and the men see that, and the men slot you, because that's what men do. Men slot women. That's what they do. Women do it to men too, but they put you in a slot. They put you in a certain category as soon as they see you. Okay, she's not a wife, but I still want to smash. I'm talking about niggas in the world, but I still want to smash. So, you know what I'm saying? You've been slotted. Okay, I'm going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to whatever. Take you out on nice dates, whatever, try to get. But yeah, I'm not wifing you. Men slot women. And women don't understand that a lot of times it starts with the way that you carry yourself, the way you dress and all that. A lot of women in the world don't understand that. We be trying to tell them and they rebel. And then the results end up being the results. What else can I tell you? Let's move on. The importance of modest dressing. This is from a sister, and she's a good sister. I would advise you sisters to follow her on TikTok. Her name is I'm Just a Girl. She's very good. Very, very good. Listen. And I mean, when I say the women on TikTok were coming for her neck because they don't like that she talks like this. Listen.
I don't believe that a man who's with a woman, if he truly loves her and cares about her, that he will allow her to go outside with no clothes on. That's just, I don't think he really is serious about her. That's just my opinion. Because I think any man who truly loves his woman in that way and wants to keep her sacred to him, he's not going to want to have her exposed to the world. And I think when we get into the modest talk and the conversation, it goes back to the let them know what they want to do, mind your business, why do you care? But I'm like, it's so much protection that I don't think we correlate what being dressing modest. And, you know, again, going back to your point about wanting black men to protect you, how can a man protect you when you put yourself at risk? And I think we kind of undermine that even just by how we're dressing, we go out in public. I have to know that when I go outside and I'm going to, you know, wear certain things, if I put myself in a situation, I'm now putting my husband in a situation because of how I'm dressing.
Right, because if you go outside dressed immodestly, you put your husband in a situation because if a man comes up and disrespects you, you expect your husband to protect you. Now he has to fight for a fight he shouldn't have had to fight because you shouldn't have came outside like that. But
yeah, that's exactly what I was saying before about the light-skinned chick with the tattoos. Yep. It's the same thing. You go outside and if you're not in the pocket, like they said, meaning you're not being subjective to your husband, right? Meaning that you have to know how to conduct yourself outside and in the home, right? You put yourself out there. The man's job is to protect, so he has no other choice. He has to step up, right? And if things go left, then it's ain't no coming back. You know what I mean? It's a wrap. How many brothers have lost their lives behind that? And all the sister gonna do is just move around, go get another man.
That's it.
You know what I mean? And don't even mention if there's children in the relationship. It's crazy, man.
And that's one of the biggest things. We're still talking about submission because dressing, not for the sisters in the truth, but in the world, dressing is the biggest argument. Like a lot of women don't want your man to tell you, take that off. You're revealing too much. Don't wear that. That's a big thing. You act like a man's trying to control you. No, he's trying to control the situation. He's trying to make sure that nobody disrespects you while you guys are out. He has to fight. God forbid he fights. He loses his life, all because you just really wanted to. You sisters understand. Let's play the video.
The thing is, most men marry women.
Hey, can you turn the volume up, please?
No, unfortunately, I am having some technical difficulties, so there's only but so much volume I could turn it up. I'll go back again.
The thing is, most men marry women instead of wives.
So I'm gonna give you guys commentaries right on the screen. The thing is, and I agree, most men marry women instead of wives. That's why the Bible says, whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing. You got women in the world that will quote the scripture and thinking because they have a cavity rather than an outie as a man, that makes them a wife. It does not make you a wife. That makes you a woman. And a lot of men marry women and not wives. Solomon was specifically saying, who finds a wife? That's a certain characteristic in a woman that makes her a wife. Not because she was born with the YY chromosome, or excuse me, the XX chromosome. That doesn't make you a wife because you're, you know, say you got long hair, you have breasts, whatever. That doesn't make you a wife. Being a wife is a certain energy. It's a certain way you carry yourself, so forth and so on. That's being a wife. And that's the difference. And you have some women that are going to be honest and tell you a lot of men are marrying women and not wives. And you're realizing once you're in this situation that you don't have a wife. You're married, you do have a woman, but she's not a wife.
The thing is, most men marry women instead of wives. The Bible says that he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. And so she already needs to be a wife when you marry her. So what
she needs to already be a wife when you meet her. That's what the scripture is saying. And that's what makes you want to actually go through with the process of marrying her, because she carries herself in a way that you know that she is ready to be a wife.
Makes her already a wife. First of all, she should love God and love him for real, not a form of godliness, not something to impress people or to use to get back at you, throw the word of God at you. She needs to really have an authentic relationship with Christ. And then she needs to already know what it is to respect a man, to hold him up, to lift him up, to be there for him when he's right or wrong. She needs to love you for who you are. She doesn't need to try to change you like you're a hunk of clay after the fact. Surely you knew who he was when you courted him, when you said yes to the proposal. So she needs to love you for who you are. She needs to love your family. She needs to love where you come from. Why should be an honest woman, one who tells the truth. I don't think she should be an argumentative woman.
She should be an argumentative woman. Hey, sisters, are y'all argumentative? The ones of y'all that are not married that want to be a wife, are you argumentative? Then you're not a wife. You're not, you need to work on yourself before you become a wife. We're going to leave that right there. That's the worst thing you could be as a woman, is argumentative. This is Proverbs 14, verse 1. It says, every wise woman buildeth her house, but the foolish plucketh it down with her hands. She belongs to the wisest of women. The wisest of women, who is a wife, will build her house up. These are things that men want in a wife. If you're a sister designed to be a wife, you're designed to be someone that's wise, that will build her household up and not tear it down. Something else a man wants in a wife. Proverbs 31, verse 12, she will do him good and not evil all his days. These are things that men want. Number 5, her husband is known, Proverbs 31, verse 23. Her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth amongst the elders of the land. She gives her man a good name, so that he is known in the gates when he sits amongst the elders of the land. Men are telling the brother, you got to be blessed, man. Your wife is talented. She's this, she's that, whatever she is. The man will give you compliments based on your wife. We just saw earlier where the brother said that men judge men on their wives. So how are you going to be judged? Is you going to be judged amongst the brothers because you have a wife that's wise, that's prudent? Or you're going to have a wife that's rebellious, that's out of pocket? You're going to be judged one way or another. That's why men are looking for these things in wives. Right? Proverbs 31, 28 and 29. Her children arise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praiseth her.
Quick reminder. Your partner, don't think they don't want to hear the words, you're beautiful, you look good. Okay? When you put it on, you look good. Tell your mom you look good, you good. Tell your girl she look good, you good. They want to hear that. Because guess what? We go out to the world, we get compliments from all different strangers, what they know. But the person I leave aside, can't tell I look beautiful. Imagine how that make you feel. Like, we don't see me the same no more. They forgot. You forgot, like, what you felt before you first met. What's going on?
Self-explanatory. No need for me to comment on that. Listen.
Sometimes you got to remind your woman she's the baddest woman alive. Like, it's a lot that's going on.
And this is for the brothers, and for me and all the brothers. Sometimes you just got to give your wife a compliment and tell her she's great. Sometimes they just need to hear that. You're great. You're doing great. You're awesome. You're doing amazing. Sometimes women just need to hear that. We're talking about them submitting to us, but sometimes there are things that they need too. Right? And if she is that submissive woman, the Bible says her husband praise with her and let her know, hey, you're doing great.
You gotta remind your woman she's the baddest woman alive. Like it's a lot that's going on in your girl life. A lot of times, you know, women have ways of communicating that, but we as men oftentimes turn it out. We so self-consumed with what's going on in our lives that we just disregard our partner completely. And if you do that, the relationship is not gonna survive. You don't expect them to just know how you feel about it. Nah, you need to communicate that. You need to lay that down over and over and over again until it's drilled into their head. And then one more time for good measure. Like, I love you, I value you, you fine as hell. Like, don't ever let nobody, you know what I'm saying, make you think anything different. You're my woman for a reason. And that's how you gotta move as a man. That's the type of reassurance that you gotta give your woman. And if you do, you're gonna see a totally different type of woman. And if you don't, you're gonna start to see a stranger. No relationship ain't gonna make it. Sometimes.
Just listen, y'all. Some things I don't even need to comment on. Just listen.
I just got off the conversation with my mom, and I thought I should share it because it's a good food for thought, if that makes sense. So I was telling her how sometimes, every now and then, I will tell my husband, I will look at my husband and I'll tell him, I like you, babe. And he'll be like, of course you should like me. You love me. And I'm like, no, not really. We've been married for over 10 years now. And I'm like, not really, because some people can love their spouse but not like their spouse, or at least not at the current moment, right? Like, do you like the spouse every day? But I'm like, you know what? If I didn't know you in a sexual level or in a we're married level, I just knew you as a person, like, I would still like you. And that's how much I still like you. Like, I would still give you my number if I found you down the street, or if you found me down the street and approached me. That's how much I still like you. So it's good. And it's a reminder to tell your spouse, remind them, you still like them. You always love them. But on the days you really, really like them, look them in the eyes. Tell them, I like you. Have some fun with your spouse. All right? Bye.
So it's a challenge for all of us. When's the last time you told your spouse that you actually like them for who they are? When's the last time you did that? That's for everybody. I told you, as I put these things together, I question myself too. We all question ourselves because none of us are perfect. That's the point. You know what? I know this video is kind of low. Now being told that some of y'all can't hear some of the videos. I apologize. I am having some technical difficulties. I'm trying to work through it, but you guys see the caption, right? Women go through life getting compliments all the time, right? You know, you have them, you know, you just walk out the door. Men are trying to talk to you. Men are trying to, you know, get with you, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just as a woman, that's y'all experience. Men don't experience that from the opposite sex, from women, right? So what the brother is saying is that it's very important for you as a woman, if you have a husband, a man, whatever, that you compliment your spouse sometimes, because men do not hear that. And sometimes they need it. Now, some men do hear that, depending on their level of attractiveness or whatever. They will get compliments from other women besides their wife, but the average man does not get compliments outside of his wife. So if your wife is not complimenting you, you don't get any. And so the brother's saying, as a woman, these are the little things you can do, right, as a wife to kind of make your man basically feel good, right? And that man will, in turn, when you do these little things, do anything for you and give you anything that you want. Men are so simple. That's why I wonder sometimes why some sisters make it so hard. Men are really simple. So this is the biblical order right here, right? These orders are not biblical. On one hand, you have the abusive husband with a wife that will submit to the abuse. The children are hurt. That's wrong. Or you can have an abusive wife and a weak husband. The children are still hurt, and that's wrong. But when you have God, the Most High God, Yahweh, Christ, Yahweh Shai, the husband as a leader or protector, right? And the wife who submits, but the husband will listen to his wife, respect his wife, honor his wife. The children won't be hurt. And that's God's design. It's not that hard. This is Sirach 4, verse 30. It says, be not as a lion in thy house. So as a man, even though you're the leader and your wife and your children are supposed to submit to your leadership, you don't have to be a lion in your house. You can actually be someone that listens, that's empathetic, so forth and so on. Everything in the Bible deals with balance. All right? So we went 30 minutes over what I normally do, which is crazy. I'm going to stop sharing the screen, man. Hopefully, brothers and sisters were edified by the class. If you guys were edified, put 1 in the chat. Let me know. I know I did a lot more than I normally do. But, I wanted to finish this PowerPoint. So hopefully, you brothers and sisters were edified by the class. While they're doing that, Zahab, if you have anything, you can bring it out.
Yeah, beautiful class, man. This is what's needed, right? Because we are the ones who are going to inherit the kingdom. Women are going to be there too, so it ain't going to be just all men. We know the 144K. We know those righteous. Those are the men. We know that, but just understand it's going to be women there also. So we have to work together as a family unit, right? And in closing, that's an excellent class. In closing, I just want to say this, man. For a man, most brothers are very simple, like you said, Priest. Very simple, man. We don't want much, man. All we want is respect. So, you know what? They get triggered when you say the S word. I'm gonna say cooperation. Respect, cooperation, and peace. That's all we want. In return, we'll give you the world, whatever we could do. We'll lay our lives down. We'll work 2-3 jobs. We'll do what we have to do to keep our family together. So this is beautiful. All praise to the Most High.
All right, guys. All praise to the Most High. Academy members that's in the academy, we're going to be dropping the class first thing in the morning. So make sure you guys be prepared for that. And make sure you guys take the test too with the academy. Tomorrow's week number 5. And the class is going to be dealing with, let me see, since we're here, I'll just show you guys what we're dealing with tomorrow. Just share my screen for 1 second and we're gonna get right out of here. So tomorrow's class for the academy is going to be a few reasons why Hebrew is essential to understanding the Bible. I know some camps teach that Hebrew is not essential. We're not throwing no shade towards them, but that's incorrect. You guys will watch the video. You guys will get understanding. And I tried to make the test as easy as possible because I'm introducing a lot of concepts that will be new to some of y'all. You guys have never seen some of the stuff I'm teaching tomorrow. So I'm going to make the test as easy as possible. Most I allow. Much love to y'all in the academy for coming forward. We do appreciate you, brothers and sisters, for that. All right. It's your brother, Priest Daniel, representing Lines of Israel, Maccabees TV, along with the Elder Zahab. If you guys are listening to us on YouTube, have not hit the like button, repent, believe the gospel. That's wicked. We out of here.
Spacious air, reflecting the way of life under the Florida sky. Even the lobbies funnel in the great outdoors.
Chosen. I was set apart for God's use. Chosen. I was set apart for God's use. Formed in His image. Chosen. They say the chain of Shaitan is not that strong. They say his time is running out, he ain't got that long. They say murder, murder, kill, this is not that song. Said I won't amount to nothing, they got that wrong. Cause I was set apart and I was shown the light. And if I get the kingdom, I'll be clothed in white. 1/3 will be delivered and the rest were blinded. Their fate is set in stone, what you ain't read the fine print? Christ is gonna give a crown to us. In the end we'll have the nations bowing down to us, with their faces to the ground to us. It's the truth, as crazy as it sounds to us.
Jacob forever rules, and we're his precious jewels. Showed us love and patience, put us above the nations. And that's the gospel. Thank God for choosing me. Bad news for you, it's really good news for me.
I was set apart for the Jews.
Chosen.
I was set apart for the Jews. Born in his image.
Let me tell you why. We have a different kind of shine, a different kind of mind. The rhythm's not the same, we're on a different type of time. With a different kind of pace, a different kind of race. The season's not the same, we have a different kind of taste. A different kind of salt, we are so not them. Got my sword and my shield, man, I'm so locked in. And when I came to serve Yahweh, put my whole heart in. So I can't sit calm, I'm no Martin. And that's a reach, y'all, chosen to teach y'all. Every Sabbath you can find us in the streets, y'all. Dare ya Allah, my nickname is Priest, y'all. In the gym, they say that I'm a beast, y'all. Set apart, the nations all hating me. Set a trap, they lying in wait for me. Chris Paul, they don't wanna play with me. But if you love me, I'm asking that you pray with me. Cause
I was set apart for the Jews.
Chosen.
I was set apart for the Jews. Born in his image.
Chosen. And thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God have chosen thee to be a special people, chosen above all people that's on the face of the earth. That's Deuteronomy 7 and 6. That's you, black and Latin man. Chosen. That's you, black and Latin woman. Yeah. But we were chosen. Chosen.